YouTube も見ながらできるから、なんかある意味新しいスタイルできるかもね。まあいいや、適当にいつものなんか感じで普通に喋ってれば。Hello.
Hello, am I on? I mean, we can to move a bit.
さあ、じゃあ、what we talking or what we interested in? Like we just like me and John before we start this one, we're talking about the mushroom actually. Like we're trying to do some kind of mushroom. I heard that you're growing some mushroom, right? What is it called?
No, not growing. I've
Found it.
Yeah, I found a mushroom. Amanita muscaria, one of the oldest psychoactive substances that humanity had been using to gain certain spiritual experience.
Have you ever tried it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
So I'm willing to try it, because I found it. But
do you know how to prepare or?
Well, I mean, I'm researching about it. But basically, you need to dry it. And the active compound is more concentrated in that mushroom, so you can try it that way. But either way, but today I think I wanted to talk about my experience with the peyote.
Okay.
The cactus, medicine, shamanic medicine. Plant.
Is that the one from like Mexico, wasn't it? Like I heard like they used to make a LSD from this like cactus or something.
Yeah.
Like but basically, ayahuasca and LSD is exactly the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, like, I went in without actually researching it because my friends suggested me to actually try it out. Because with this friend of mine, I've tried different psychoactive and psychedelic substance, and then after I tried it, he told me, okay, maybe we can try it. You could come with me in a certain place, and there's a shaman coming from South America who can actually,
Was it like a real shaman? I mean, it's like more.
Yes, he was a real. Well, it wasn't just one person, but it was like this shaman, his brother, and his brother's wife as a trio. We go around places around the world spreading this whole shamanic kind of like rituals and experiences for people to experience. Then I mean, that's where I went to go. So basically, I went to this like property in countryside in UK. So where they actually hosted this peyote ritual. When I first arrived there, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, I'm going here without any preconceptions, because I've researched all about it and I want to experience it kind of thing." No, I said, okay, my friend kind of like invited and suggested me to try it, so I thought, okay, why not do that? I don't mind going there blindfolded, basically. So I went there, and being there, like, it was just like it was like basically like a property on or there was like a mansion and there's like a property outside of it. It was like this person had like a huge backyard in which there's people can actually erect teepees, which is like like a Native American like
a
tent basically, in which they do their own stuff and everything. So in there they are preparing this whole shamanic kind of like a ritual space and like preparation and everything. But I remember going in there. There were about, I guess you could say, 10 to 12 people, if I can remember.
Oh yeah.
Who were attending there, and they were preparing everything, and I distinctly remember this guy who was like actually making a fire in that tipi, and was like, oh, we're gonna do the peyote thing, and
Is that like a drink kind of thing? You drink it, or is it like you smoke it, or what is
well, basically it's a powdered form of a cactus that grows in Mexico that has a psychoactive element to it. So, well, basically, but this guy who was actually making a fire, he was like, oh, we're gonna do this, ritual. Have you done it and everything? And do you know anything about peyote? And I said to him, well, I mean, I know nothing about it, and I said to him immediately. I said to him like instinctively. I said to him, well, I don't want to get into it without knowing what's it. But I don't have any idea, and don't ask me about anything about this whole peyote thing. And he didn't say anything. So okay. I mean, he was like, he didn't say anything. He just like kept on like making fire. So I was like, okay, whatever. And like, I think because when we arrived there with my friend, it was about 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. somewhere around there, and they told me like the ritual would start from 9 p.m. in the evening. I was like, okay. Alright, and no one has told me how long it will last. You buy it, probably it will last for about several hours, 3 hours, whatever, and we're done with it. Whatever. And
But actually, how long was it?
When it came to that time, like 9 p.m., they said, okay, we're gonna start from it. And we went in it, and what was it like? So you have this like a fire in the middle, right, of the tipi.
Yeah.
And everyone's gathering, and there's about 12, 13 people gathering around this fire, and then there's like a Mexican or Colombian shaman guy who went around explaining about this ritual.
Was he like wearing kind of like a uniform or something? Like
he was wearing that kind of like he was wearing that poncho.
Oh, okay.
Traditional like Mexican kind of magic, but it was tailored more on that kind of shamanic kind of like
version of that.
Ritual kind of like thing. So when I was like listening to this talk and everything, it's like he went on from 9 p.m. and we all started to like gather and like chant and everything, but like
chant like what, like it's Spanish, like kind of like
yeah. So because I mean the shaman was like drumming first, I think, then he was like doing this shaking the rattle and everything, was making the shaman. I think it was done in it to make us more tuned to that kind of shamanic state. Because if you drum in certain kind of rhythm or like with the rattle, basically your is believed to actually put you into certain kind of like frequency or like a shamanic consciousness or state. And then we feel like we were doing that for about 15-20 minutes. Then he actually like went around asking people, oh, now you can actually like chant your own kind of like thing to the fire we created in the middle of the tipi and everything, and like and people were, you know, chanting their own kind of like, you know, prayers or like, you know, mantras and everything, like, you know, aligning to this whole, well, basically like the drumming kind of like a rhythm together. So
would they play music that you can use the drums, or like would they just like talk into this fire? I mean, like
yeah.
chant?
So anything was good. So basically, I remember one guy was like, yeah, we are from the sacred earth, like, you know, we are sacred, you know, let us experience this whole spiritual ritual with an open heart, and, you know, may the universe guide us, may the universe guide us, and like, you know, he was like banging the drum, and like one of my friends was into this kind of Hare Krishna, like, you know, Hindu kind of like ritual. He basically relayed a certain kind of like Vedic god's name into when he was like literally thingy, and it's like, you know, and he was doing that kind of thing. And
how about you? What you said?
I don't think I participated. It was volunteer kind of thing. Volunteer. But I remember this one, I think she was like Japanese woman.
Oh yeah?
Apparently, from what I heard. But she was like very acquainted with this whole kind of like South American shamanic kind of like peyote ritual and everything, and she actually sang really beautifully in kind of like Mexican Spanish shamanic kind of like song ritual. Do you get it? And she was like, you know, really at it, and like she went really like ecstatic with it, and like even the actual shamans who were there watching were very impressed how she was actually able to like utter such a sequences.
Sounds like she's really experienced. Like
Sounds like she was like very meticulous about her kind of like rituals and experience in the past and everything. So she combined that and like, you know, everything, and like, you know. So that was interesting. And but basically after that, the shaman proceeded in going to like you know, continue with his ritual and everything. So the fire is blazing and burning and everything, and it was like chanting and like, you know, ritualizing and everything. But the thing is, right? Oh my god, we started from 9 o'clock. But this chanting went on for hours and hours, right? Literally, by the time I realized it was like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning.
You didn't even start like you're taking this.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was kind of like a build-up, right? So it was like a chanting and, you know, sequence, and like, you know, everyone was like, you know, into and everything. And at one point I kind of like
got tired.
I kind of got tired and like, you know, dozed off, dude. I was like thinking. I remember my friend next to me was like, come on, wake up, man. Kind of like, they woke me up, and I can see the shaman was there standing. He seemed kind of really offended that I was like dozing off. I was like, you know, he was like, you know, like, my brother's wife, who's pregnant now, she's like 8 or 7 months now, she's participating, and she's like really into it, and she's like, she's not like, you know, sleeping and everything, you know. And he was like, he told me like, you know, come on, you are facing one of the most powerful elements on this universe, the fire, at the present moment. so please concentrate and like a bit. I mean, he didn't directly say it to me, but it was like he was saying it to everyone who was like kind of dozing off and everything. I wasn't the only one. There were other people who were kind of like dozing off and everything, but I was really like so I'm thinking, okay, I need to like really stay awake.
You didn't have a chance to go outside and have a take a piss.
No.
So you just sitting there and chanting like
No.
5 hours.
Literally, it was like throughout the whole night, basically. And I was not being informed that it's gonna be the whole night. You get it? So I was like, okay, whatever. And like, at that point I didn't know how long it was going to last and everything. So I was like, okay, since the shaman was like this, and I need to like really focus and like, concentrate on the whole ritual.
What's what? You didn't really take anything, right? Just chanting for like.
Yes.
Okay.
And yes, we were chanting and like doing this whole ritual and everything. And the fire. The all I remember is like the fire was blazing and everything. It was going on for. That was going on for like. At least to like 4 or 5 in the morning. Literally. And we had to be awake till that point. You get it? And I wasn't warned about it, so I was kind of pissed off. I was like, why wasn't I warned about it? It was like, I thought it was going to be just like 3 or several hours, about this ritual and everything. And I was going, okay, whatever, because it was all building up and like, I was trying my best to keep myself awake. And like, everyone was doing that and like, and so I was like, okay, whatever. And at that, around, I can't remember exactly, but around 4 or 5 p.m. time.
A.M., right?
Yeah, a.m., sorry. Yeah, around that time. And people, and when the shamans actually started to distribute this whole peyote.
Oh.
And
finally.
And finally, in the powder form around each one of us.
Like how? Like on the hand or like on the plate or?
So he had like a spoon that he scooped from one of his like a jar that contained this like a powder form of the cactus or peyote. And he went around and like basically made us like consume this powder to each one of the participants.
Like how? In the mouth or spoon to the mouth?
No,
or straight away?
Spoon to the mouth. To get it. Spoon to the mouth. So we all consume that.
But it's a powder, right? So like you have to swallow this powder.
Yeah. You have to swallow this powder. I think they've given us kind of like water later as well, because this powder is like really dry. Yeah, I'm like, you can't really swallow it. So they've given us some kind of like a liquid or like a water to consume, drink.
Liquid or water? Was it water or was it something else?
I can't remember exactly, but I think it was water.
Okay.
Just to and drink. Then we swallowed it and everything. But the thing is, right?
That was around like 5 a.m. or like 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 5 a.m. And like we drank it and like consumed it and like but the thing is the drumming keeps going and like it's that kind of like the whole atmosphere kind of intensifies and everything. Then and I'm thinking, and everyone's like some people started to purge. The word purge meaning like they started to like vomit. Vomit.
Okay.
The toxins within themselves together.
Well, like in this the tent inside, they start throwing.
Yes,
inside
the tent, some people started to like vomit and like thinking, but it's not considered to be a bad thing because you're trying to detoxify yourself by cleansing yourself from vomiting and everything. Any toxins you have, you actually vomit, everything. And my time, I didn't actually like vomit or detoxify myself at the time. I didn't feel like sick or anything, but some people were like vomiting things out to cleansing him, but the whole drumming thing went on, and it was continuous, and it kind of went through the whole purification kind of phase and everything. And as it went on and everything, and I think we had like a second round of consuming the peyote.
How long after was that from the first one?
I think it was about 1 hour or one and a half an hour.
Like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. You had
Yes, like 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m.
Okay, during that, like everyone's throwing up and the drums keep nobody's talks or just just drumming and just
you're drumming and the shamans are chanting their own prayers to the god, and forgot to mention that in this ritual they've invoked the spirit of a deity called the blue deer in this in this kind of shamanic tradition. So what they do is they had this a small figurine of it, a blue deer kind of thing. So they invite this spirit to actually participate in this ritual, to operate in this the whole and this whole ritual. And when they're doing that, so we had a second round of peyote consumption. So the shamans went around and made us kind of consume the second round and everything. And
so spoons of mouth,
yeah, exactly. And we had a different effect with that. Mind you, when we're consuming this peyote thingy, I think most of us didn't have any effect at that point, because it felt like the first round, second round was like a cleansing process and everything that went around and around and everything, and then drumming and chanting went around from around 6 to 7 p.m. A.M. Sorry. Keep it.
So it's almost 10 hours,
Oh yeah, exactly. Almost 10 hours of
okay, then you had the second round around it
yeah. Then when another 1 hour of chanting, drumming went around and everything. Then around 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. we that's when basically the morning comes and it's this the sun comes up and everything. I remember distinctively around 6, I can't remember exactly, probably around 7 a.m. when the sun has risen in the first thing in the morning. You know how if you know anything about the Native American teepee, you have a hole and there's a teepee on the top of the tent. Around the time when the sun has risen, the first sun ray just went straight into the teepee, and it kind of brightened this whole inside of the teepee, basically. And when that happened, the whole effect of the peyote happened to us. We were literally I can't describe, it's hard to describe, but when the first sunshine of the morning sunrise went into the teepee and we received the first light, then this whole expansion happened, basically, where we felt
inside a light or something?
Exactly, and we felt completely awakened, literally, all this preconception of our individual identity and whatnot has completely blown away or melted basically. So we felt like we were connected to everything, like literally. Like I'm not talking about okay, I'm connected to that person or just this something. Like not just on this planet, but around different kind of galaxies and like different kind of like even the sun and everything. And it felt like we were like a complete fabric of this whole universe, basically. It sounds kind of.
Do you remember how the people like around you when you like felt this like? Do you remember who like the people around you? How does it look like? They like this or?
It felt like everyone was like literally like what do you call it? It felt like everyone was like literally awestruck, like oh, like what is going on, and everything. But it was so what do you call it? Profound in a sense. This connection that you have in that moment that is like some people were crying basically because it was so profound. You get it? Because everything we thought that was against us or like that separated us has vanished basically. Like it felt like at that point
melt in the atmosphere.
Yeah, you've melted into this whole universe basically, or this planet, or like this whole surrounding around you, because you have no sense of yourself whatsoever. You feel like he is you, she is you, and that tree is you. Do you like? It felt like you felt completely part of that thing. That everything